let's meet the visiting team.
Hey, Shams, the Denver Nuggets, of course, the winners back in 2023 of the NBA title. Couldn't go back-to-back last year. Is there window, in your opinion, still as open as it seemed to be?
100%. Let's remember, Nikola Jokic is still in his 20s. They still have Jamal Murray. And as long as that three-time MVP is healthy, the Nuggets front office has one thing on their minds, and it's a championship. And their biggest problem is that the rest of the West has gotten much better over the years. But if this team is healthy, as long as they keep building the right way around their two best players in Murray and Jokic, they can continue to compete for championships.
And I love what you say about the West. Top to bottom, so strong, so deep, so competitive. Now let's take a look at the Nuggets opening lineup. Before in the 5, it's Gordon and Jokic. In at the guard spots, it's Murray and Brown. And it's Porter in at the 3.
Just bouncing off of contact, Booker putting in work in that weight room.
And let's head over to the sideline and catch up with David Aldridge.
Well, I briefly spoke with Mike Budenholzer. Now the obvious concern is Nikola Jokic, particularly as a playmaker. Coach told me if Jokic goes off for 40 himself, we can still win if we hold his teammates down. But that's tough when he's hitting those guys in their favorite spots. Kevin?
Thank you, David. Here's Richards. Last game we saw him score 14. Done against Porter. It's hauled in by the Nuggets. They come into this having outplayed Phoenix the last game.
Well, it helps when your opponent makes that many mistakes. I thought that was the story of the game.
It definitely made things easier for them. When the other team is just handing you the ball back, you got to make them pay for it.
Now here's Durant, following the miss by Michael Porter. There's the 3, and it's Kevin Durant with the 3. Well, the latest CBA introducing the second apron, limiting, Shams, what teams above the cap can do. How does that new rule affect teams?
Decision makers tell me that they're very much keeping an eye on the second apron, not only of their team, but others, and teams that will have to shed salary because of the second apron and the amount of big contracts we're going to see teams give to players. You're going to see it at the top, but that may dwindle in the middle of their roster. But we will see a more competitive league because of these new CBA changes and less of a chance of super teams and just more parity and dispersed talent.
Do you constantly read over some of these CBA agreements? I would assume that you do, to have a full understanding of terms like the apron, like we just talked about, or all the other things, the luxury tax, all the things that make deals possible.
It's one thing to have luxury tax. It's a whole nother animal now to have the second apron. And that, certainly for teams that are deep in the second apron, that limits their ability to go make major trades, to be able to sign players for more than the minimum. And we're seeing that happen to at least 1 or 2 teams around the league right now. So how will that impact things? But certainly the CBA being 50, 60, 70 pages, that's something we pour through before every calendar year.
It is just fascinating. And it's Michael Malone calling timeout here. He wants a minute here to get things straightened out with his team. Phoenix making some changes. Mitchell Robinson's checked in for Nick Richards. McGee comes in for Dunn. And it's Rose in for Mike Conley. And a switcher also for Denver. Westbrook's checked in. And you look at the way the league is moving now, Shams, are there less big trades than when you started or more?
Perhaps a little bit less, but listen, the league is trying to keep parity in this league and allow teams to be able to keep their homegrown stars. There's always going to be plenty of interest, and that level of interest, not only from players from competing teams, but fans' interest, it's never been higher.
And there's never any hesitancy, right? If a team feels they can get better, for whatever reason and however they do it, I don't think there's any hesitancy to pull in the trigger.
Particularly when you're on the cusp of potentially winning a championship or competing, whether it's competing for the playoffs, competing for a title. If you can make one move that takes you from point A to point B, teams and general managers want to do it.
Well said. Here's Murray. Devin Booker picking up that last basket. Outside Westbrook. Jokic's screen. Can they get it? A tad short, but it's good off the front iron.
This guy can put you in a spin cycle faster than anybody. Westbrook out here just breaking ankles.
McGee inside, defended by Gordon. McGee's shot is off. The Nuggets trail by 9. Outside Gordon. In the corner, it's Westbrook. It's Porter outside. The rebound by KD. And so Booker will bring it up for the Suns. Last game against the Nuggets, they lost in the Mile High City.
And turnovers were the story for them when they saw each other last. I mean, just a heartbreaking way to lose the game.
Yep, that one goes in there.
Their play on both ends has been superb. We'll see if they can maintain the momentum.
They came out and bum rushed them. Huge difference in activity level from both teams tonight.
And going vertical, Murray's one of those guys with that sneaky athleticism.
Outside, KD. .29 seconds left in the first quarter of the game. The shot's good.
This is as good as it gets for a first quarter in terms of shooting the basketball.
And it looks like, yep, it's a coach's challenge on the personal foul. That triggers a replay review by the officials.
And I think when it comes to some of the more difficult calls to make, personal fouls can be tough. The action is so fast that it's really...
The previous play is under review.
Technology, we've seen replay reviews so effectively and involving the coaches by being able now. The challenge like this.
The ruling on the floor is confirmed.
And so the word is in. They've decided that the call stands as it was made on the floor.
And, you know, even if a coach still feels this wasn't the right call, you got to acknowledge the effort being put in to reviewing it. With double-checking, and the game continues on.
So for the Suns, Donnie's checked in for Durant, and it's Booker in for Rose. And a switcher also for Denver. Schroeder's checked in. It's stolen by Morris. Good for the basket. Starting off 1 for 1 with that shot.
Displaying intensity right off the opening tip, especially on the offensive end.
They came out swinging, really setting the tone on offense, and the opposition has not been able to respond.
That will count. What a play! Simply drains it in at the buzzer.
One eye on the rim, one eye on the clock. Nice job.
He didn't even look worried about the time on the clock. Nice way to end a quarter.
And so it's the Phoenix Suns. Their lead at 15 going into the break. A look at the field goal percentage numbers tells the story of what tough defense they're playing today. Back right after this. And we welcome you back to NBA action, a great tradition, Christmas Day basketball, here on 2K Sports. And guys, the Suns enjoying a nice lead here.
You got to credit their defense, communicating, rotating, making plays on the ball.
It's been a group effort, and that's what it takes to play the kind of defense that they've played. Great showing from them.
The Nuggets Trail by 15. Hey, Shams, you're always on the pulse of those league-changing trades. We certainly saw some impactful ones last season.
Across the board, the Pacers, the Mavericks, they made deep runs, and they did so on the back of some big trade deadline moves. Those are transformations that excite all of us to witness. Even New York getting OG Anunoby at the trade deadline. This is a league that's built on capitalizing at the moment and striking when the iron's hot, and we saw multiple teams do that this last season.
Yeah, that trade deadline was phenomenal for those teams you mentioned. Really impactful. So with Durant sitting on the bench, this is Mike Budenholzer's lineup. We've got Devin Booker. Cole is out there with Derrick Rose. Then it's Morris. And it's Robinson in at the 5, roaming the paint. Here's Strother. Devin Booker picking up that last basket. And there's the call on Devin Booker. That'll be his second foul of the game.
That's a second, and I think they'll keep him in, but he's got to be careful. A third, and he'll sit for the rest of the half.
Christian Brown's checked in for the Nuggets. And Mike Budenholzer has called a timeout. He's made the decision. He wants to huddle up with his guys. So for the Suns, Durant's checked in for Mitchell Robinson. Dunn comes in for Derrick Rose. And it's Conley in for Booker. Takes a step back. And it's Murray penetrating. And then Murray with the jam.
And on the drive, Murray can seem unstoppable. His agility cuts the defense apart. There.
Nice angle on that replay with the AT&T 5G Slam Cam. And the influx of international players continues to just fill these rosters in the NBA. And Shams, it has truly become a global league.
It's truly a beautiful thing, right, Kevin? We want sports to bring people together, to really galvanize communities, no matter your ethnicity, no matter your gender, anything. And now I really feel we're breaking down a lot of barriers in the world.
I think 3 of the top, 5, 6 players, we've got Doncic. You know, we've got Porzingis, of course, who is such a nice player, but Antetokounmpo and Jokic. I mean, the names go on and on of key contributors to winning teams.
You have to make a case that the world team against the U.S. team, if they were ever stacked against each other, that would be a heck of a game.
You and I would pay for the ticket, wouldn't we? I would pay to watch.